What's up? So we are here in my office slash studio, and today I'm going to show you my home VO setup. Everything from the actual booth to the hardware and software inside. So let's have a look. The booth is a 4x6, that is 4 feet by 6 feet booth, which is custom made, and that is by LA Vocal Booths. Those lovely people right there. Now, I want to let you know beforehand, as you can guess, this is not inexpensive. It is costly, but I had the resources, I had the means. I wanted to be able to do my very best quality of work, not just performing, but technically. As you can see, I've tailored it a little bit. That is my Ministry of Silly Walks right there. Yeah, and it's adjustable, so you can make the walk as silly as you want. Anyway, you got to look that up. And I put my own Edge Voice Studios logo there on the door. So first things first, I did choose the color. You can choose different colors for it, and I did that. I also chose the standard kind of door, but I wanted a window in the door so I could see out, and also let a little bit of light in if I wanted, just some daylight in there. And let's talk about the exterior features. First off, what you have here are the ventilation system attachments, I guess. And so what you got are these different ducts and hoses and things, and you can see also the outlets. So you have more than adequate power supply for all of the accoutrements that go inside, and you'll see that in a minute. But also what that does is allow you to have a little bit of climate control. Now, it's not a straight up AC system, but it does allow you to turn on a fan and cool things off when you need to. And the fan has anywhere from 1 to 10 as far as settings you can go. And when you use 4 or less, nobody can hear the fan on those settings. And on certain days when you have a longer session and it's a bit warmer outside, you're gonna need that bit of extra comfort. As you can see, it's also plenty high enough, but not so high that it doesn't fit into a standard sized room. That was very important as well. There's a little bit of gap there in between. And it's also enough so that I didn't have to radically reshape the room. What you do see is that this was where the closet was. So this was a standard sort of 6 foot by 2 foot closet. So I just had that removed, and this is an office studio anyway, so I didn't need your conventional closet. So that's what I wanted to do, was make sure I had a place to tuck this thing away in. So it fits pretty well, does blend in fairly well with the room. I've got sort of a softer white, and this is more of a cream color, but aesthetically I wanted that, and yeah, I got it. Now, let's take a look inside. As we go inside, and as you can tell, this is also pretty good cushion door, not easy to shut. That means the sound stays out. Now this is a tier 2 door, I believe, meaning it blocks out most sound. Not the very loudest stuff, but I don't typically need to have to worry about that. I'm in a nice suburban area, so it's not a big deal that I block out every single bit of sound. But as you can see, we also have some pretty good acoustic treatment here. And again, I've got I'm going to lay out all the specs, but the acoustic treatment I have is above average, and it is enough to make sure that I get a pristine quality sound. So as you can see, it's pretty well acoustically treated in here. This looks like the wall of a lot of studios that you would see. These sound panels are pretty effective. Nothing too elaborate. What you'll notice also are these hinges here. All right, and these are in different parts. What those hinges mean is that this is a very easy booth to disassemble and reassemble, so it's very movable. I've not tried to do it yet. I'm not planning on going anywhere, but for future reference, if I do need to, the booth can very easily come along. So we also went with a nice little sort of hardwood pattern on the floor, and of course, I chose to go with a nice soft rug that does add to the acoustics as well. It helps cushion the sound. And it's also, I got to be honest, it just feels nice. If I want to be in there barefoot, I can be. And again, the lighting is pretty versatile. It is not the absolute upper tier package. That was where You could change the lighting a little bit to different colors. I didn't really see a need for it, but what you can do, you can go with a softer light, okay? You can go with a brighter light. And this, by the way, is the remote switch. So if I turn it off, I record in the dark. Honestly, most of the time, I do record in the dark. I just like it. I don't know, for whatever reason, I'm more easily able to get in character and stay in character when I'm not distracted by anything else. So that's my own personal preference. The shelf, also part of the booth. This is part of the package. You can have just the regular booth. You can put your own little version of a desk in here. What I wanted was an actual shelf. Again, more sound treatment down there. And then all the way at the bottom, you can just barely see, this is where the AC outlets run into the actual booth, and the lines go out through that wall there. And you also have little, again, part of the ventilation system going out and helping blow some air in. Here is just enough to put my MacBook Air, and here a tablet just for my script. So what I'll do is I will read my copy here, and then I will do my recording here, and I will send in the auditions and all of that. So I'm running the operation from this, and I'm reading off of this. Underneath that, you're gonna see, that's my preamp. That's the Scarlett Mobile by Focusrite. I love that. This is the Cloud, which I needed because I was running 2 mics and being able to run through this Scarlett. And then I have my splitter to be able to handle all this stuff. You just gotta be able to run different lines in and out. And again, I'm not a tech head. It's probably pretty obvious from this, but the fact that I can manage this means that you definitely can. These are running into different places. They're getting their power all from either down here or from the computer itself. I found some pretty versatile stands or clamps or mounts, whatever you want to call them, but I love them, and they're very simple, and they work very well in a confined space. Same thing goes for this arm. This is very similar to the boom mic arm I use. In fact, it's probably the exact same company that I use for when I stream. Right here, I've got the KSM32 Shure condenser mic. I have used this mic for 20 years now, and it is an absolutely wonderful piece of equipment. It is not the cheapest mic, but it is by no means the most expensive mic. So it has given me very good quality. I have used it for thousands of auditions and many, many, many jobs out of this booth, and even when I was working from home in a different phase of the pandemic. And it's great mainly for auditioning, but occasionally, depending on the job, I'll use it for that as well. I actually use this for all my Apex stuff. So everything I've recorded for the past, 2 years for Apex, right there, came right through that mic. High five! And then this is your SM7B. This was suggested to me by the engineers at Fox and working on The Simpsons. They said, this is going to give you really good broadcast quality, and it's going to give us a pristine file that we can work with the way we need to. So I pull this out for all of my Simpsons records. And again, works wonderfully. I love it. It's right around the same price point as the KSM32. So it really depends on where you're getting it. Depends on whether or not you're buying it used or not. I obviously bought mine brand new off the old interwebs, and I'm very happy with it. So everything I've done for The Simpsons the last couple of years from home has been right here on this. Love it. All right, now finally, let's get into the actual operating software that I use for recording. For me, recording is a very simple operation because it needs to be, all right? I am not great at handling tech. I am not great at troubleshooting. I usually leave that up to the real pros. Typically, I will read my copy off of this monitor here. I will set up my mic right here, put it at just the right level. The level does make a difference. It's going to record the sound differently depending upon the angle. Copy is up there. And then I open up this little guy right here, Audacity. Audacity has been the absolute saving grace for me because I want something easy to use, easy to troubleshoot, very easy to edit with, and it's all of those things. It's open source, it's free. In fact, I don't just audition with it. As you can guess, I record with it. So I am sending off files for Apex, for The Simpsons, for different video games, for ADR jobs, things like that, all on Audacity. And I just start recording here. And so test, 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. And the thing I love about Audacity is I can go in, and if it's a little soft, I can raise the volume just by going in and amplifying. You can just pump that right up. Now that's not, as you can guess, that's not changing the nature of the file. It's not compressing it. It's just making it a little bit easier to hear. You can do it through gain. You can do it through here. That's a whole nother video right there. And then once I'm ready to have it sent off, I simply save it and I am good to go. Can edit with it very easily. It's just a matter of clicking on a space like you saw I did, drag it across and do whatever you want to it. I could edit with that. I can take out breaths. I can take out little pops and things like that. So that's the whole point, is that you got to have something that's functional, right? You need high quality, but you also need good function. Now, I know a lot of you use Pro Tools. A lot of people use GarageBand. You got to use whatever works for you. But for me, the ultimate test is, am I sending this off to a production? Are they using it for broadcast? Or do they need to bring me into a studio because this is not up to par? This passes the test, so works great for me. As far as the actual price for something like this, the booth itself, with all of the different treatments I have for it, ran me about $12,000. That's not a practical expense for most people, okay? And I understand that. I've been, knock on wood, very lucky to have the career that I do. This was a no-brainer as far as investments go. That doesn't mean you can't get something for less from the very same company. LA Vocal Booths does have other options, and I'm not shilling for them. They're not paying me to do this. This is just what I use, and I want you guys to see it. So again, it's up to you. You can get a smaller booth. You can get a large one if you want. It depends on your budget. Depends on what you're looking for. As far as the rest of this tech, conservatively, $2 to $3 grand. And I have colleagues who have much more than this. I have colleagues who have less. They all work plenty. It's what works for them. This works great for me. Hope you enjoyed this. And next time you hear my voice in a production, you know, came from here.